Hey guys, Dr. Sharma here, and want to talk to you about whether or not you should be taking the NBME practice examinations. The NBME allows you to take these exams that they've put together based on old questions that they've placed on their USMLE Step 1 examinations, and have put them online so that you can practice taking a USMLE Step 1 like exam. Now the issue with that is that it's also going to require money, and I know with already all the resources that you have to buy and how expensive medical school can be for some of you who have to pay on it on your own, that can be a little bit of a stretch. Let's talk about some pros and cons in taking one of the NBMEs. The pros are that it gives you similar presentations as the USMLE Step 1 will do, as the presentations tend to be a little bit vague. Sometimes the question vignettes are not very long and they give you just a little bit of information, and you kind of have to decipher between very similar disease processes. So a huge advantage to taking one of these practice exams is to get used to that and to realize that some of those questions, well, in fact, the majority of the questions on Step 1 are going to be similar to those questions. Another pro is that you can time yourself and try to get through a rather difficult examination in a certain amount of time, which is going to help you on your speed. I'm a huge advocate for taking as many practice examinations as you can before your actual exam. That's obviously going to be one of the best things that you can do, aside from just studying a lot of the material. One other last advantage, and it's obvious enough, is that it's going to give you a score, and that way you can use it to evaluate yourself on where you're starting out and how you're doing. That moves me into one of the most important cons to actually using the NBMEs for your practice examinations, is that the score that they give you sometimes is not really indicative of actually where you are going to be and where you would actually score on the exam. For example, my NBME 13 examination was a couple of points off from what my actual exam score was, and it was also off from what I got compared to the UWorld practice examinations. So it's not a perfect indicator and it's not a perfect score basing off what you're going to be getting. It's an extremely difficult practice exam, especially some of the first ones, and you're probably going to get a really low score, especially if you're doing it sometime away from your examination, and that can be extremely daunting and it can really scare you. So that's what I would say is one really big disadvantage to taking the NBME practice exams. But a way to tackle this issue is to remember that, again, it's a really hard examination and it's not going to be the perfect indicator of what your score is. It's just a little bit of a baseline of where you're at, and to get an idea of how they ask their questions. Another huge disadvantage to the NBME practice exams is that they don't give you explanations and answers. Now that speaks for itself in saying that you really need to be learning as much information as you can. And so after an NBME, if you're trying to review answers and try to look them up in your first day, there's some things that you will be able to find, but I definitely think you should try to use more of your energy towards just learning new information and studying your material, and just use the exam as an indicator of what your score is. Now I'll make another video on how to review an NBME and my secrets in doing that, which you can watch on the next video. I'm not going to discuss that here because this video is already super long. Those are all really the general disadvantages and advantages of the NBMEs, and I don't think you should be using these exams as a replacement tool for real practice simulations that would actually give you a score and give you feedback and answers, such as the UWorld simulation exams. I would simply use it as a tool to test yourself on where you're at, and I'll talk more about the timing on when you should take this examination coming up to your Step 1. As always, like and subscribe. Let me know if you guys have any questions or comments. Please comment below the video, and as always, good luck.